fucking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round one, kind of, recap for this week's RBC Heritage. Joining me to break it all down, Kyle Porter is here. KP, hello to you, sir.
What is up, Rick?
We cannot go a round without a weather delay.
I thought we had it out of our system after the Masters last week. It was brutal. Although I will say the 27 holes on, or whatever it was, 30 holes on Sunday was kind of sick. It's not better than having like Saturday, Sunday, but it was pretty close. It was pretty good.
Yeah. And also because everybody went off, I think everybody went off, or at least the guys that matter went off the first tee. So they played the second 9 at Augusta twice on Sunday, which was sick.
Yeah. It was amazing. And yeah, to see it played, because you're kind of getting a preview in the morning of like this crazy thing that, and then it could have played out a lot different, with like 13 and the drama. None of that really existed because Rahm was basically not getting a fight from Koepka, but there was a lot that what could have happened was amazing, although none of it really played out that way.
The first 2 minutes was the most exciting part when there was a 2-shot swing immediately.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
What was more like a bigger thrill than that? Was there anything on Sunday? Phil and Speed?
Yeah, I think when Phil posted and I was like, oh my God, he's going to win.
Okay. I know. I mean, the two things that we joked about, and I'm actually not going to let you segue this, even though you could, because I have something else, but the first 3 days of last week, I'm walking around with different people like Sean Martin, Andy Johnson, Kevin von Valkenburg, like all these guys. And we're talking about like, what's the dumbest things that could happen? The two most frequented or most like spoken, Rory misses the cut and Phil wins the tournament. And both of them almost happened. I mean, those were like the two dumbest outcomes of the Masters. And both nearly came to fruition. One thing I was going to ask you, Rick, you don't get asked enough questions on here. Your takes are great. Your opinions are really good.
Oh, thank you.
What is when I give you a year, I want you to tell me the lasting image of the Masters that first pops into your head.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So we'll just go through this. How far back can you go, or do you want to go?
I could go back to like 18, I think would be like the most.
Okay. Let's go.
Or then any Tiger year, I guess, is really.
Okay, 2005.
The only thing I remember, the only thing that I remember is Tiger, just the celebration. It's honestly, I don't even remember a shot from 2005 except the celebration of him like walking up towards the clubhouse.
Was that 2016? The 16.
16 shot was 2005, right?
Yeah. That was it for me. Okay, 2021.
So that was
Hideki.
The bow.
Yes.
Hideki, yes. Yeah.
100%. Okay, 2023. This year.
I want to say one thing, but I might get in trouble for it. But I think I don't even know. The lasting image of 2023. What will I remember? I don't know.
Okay, so I actually agree with your lack of a take because I don't know that there is one. Now, I would counter it with I think it's Rahm and Jose Maria Olazabal embracing behind 18 because it was Seve's birthday, and like that the Seve thing gets like way blown out of proportion by everyone, but that was a real thing. And I was thinking about it for a while today. Like, what was the lasting image? It's obviously Hideki's caddy bowing in 2021. Last year was what was last year? Scheffler.
Scheffler. I actually think it was like I will remember the Rory Morikawa holeouts.
Yeah, it was
But like
maybe Scheffler's inability to get his vest on Saturday.
on and off, on and off, on and off. Yeah. I mean, so I guess I guess for this year then, right? Because there wasn't like a shot, right? There wasn't like a moment that
No.
like Vince Carter .gif. It was just like this relentless pursuit of a green jacket.
Yes, and so I think it is the Jose Maria Olazabal ROM embrace. Yeah, it is. It's interesting. It's an interesting thought exercise to kind of go back through previous Masters to try to figure out. One of them is like Spieth dropping on 12, obviously in 2016.
What's DJs or like 2020? Just like I
think
it's remember nobody being there.
Yeah, so for me that year, the one that I'll remember is him getting choked up, like like being unable to talk.
The Amanda Renner, Balionis at the time, right? Interview afterwards, and she let it breathe perfectly. And
it was great.
And he could not formulate a response to her,
which is so just like unlike anything that's ever happened to him. And correct. Yeah, that was that year for me.
That was cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we did have a weather delay at Harbour Town today. So as we speak right now, there are still golfers out on the golf course. Some guys have as many as 8 or 9 holes to play. We'll talk through the leaderboard, but we'll let it mature a little bit more, and we'll hit a couple of news items out of the gate here. So we'll start with the fall schedule, because the schedule kind of leads into our second topic. So we got a little bit more information about the FedEx Cup fall branded schedule for this upcoming year. Obviously, we're going back to the calendar year, but we're still going to have 7 tournaments starting in September with the Fortinet Championship and a lot of different criteria here, KP. So for example, a 2-year exemption if you get a victory. What it is essentially going to do is allow the guys who are currently outside the top, 50, battle it out for rankings. And I think what is going to be the most compelling story of this is playing your way into that 50 to 70 range, because that would get you into the Desies, right?
No, wrong.
Perfect.
I think, and this is part of my take on this. I think you have to be in the top 10 in the fall. So that would be like 51 through 60 to be in the first 2 non-tournament of champions Desies. Right? Correct. Because the 50 is already set for the Desies. It's the 50 from the previous season.
Right, but doesn't okay. So okay.
And then you get 10 from the current FedEx Cup rankings, which in this case would be from the fall.
Right. Okay.
And so say for Memorial, the 10 from the FedEx Cup would be from like January through June or May or whatever.
But wouldn't there, in theory, just be a lot of those guys that were already in the 50 from last year?
It's that are not already qualified.
Oh, okay.
So yes, there would be. So it's 10 from there. 5 of the swing got like the in between, like the hottest players or whatever. Okay. But I don't think that applies. Okay, so my take on all this is I think this makes I think it actually makes sense if you're like trying to structure all this. I think it makes 0 sense if you don't follow the sport like a maniacal just lunatic. We don't even completely understand it, right? And so I think there's a lot of but if this then that and right. So yeah, you're what you said is half true. If you're in the 50 to 70 range at the end of the fall, which the top 50 their points don't count. They don't matter. They're already in everything, right? So they just get erased. So if you're in the top 50 to 70, it's really the top 1 to 20. Because everybody else is like Rory and Spieth, everybody's gone. Like they're out. So you start with 51, which is effectively 1. And then the top 10 of those make it into whatever the first 2 elevated are. Probably, what is that? Pebble and Riviera?
Phoenix or Riviera?
I think Phoenix is out, right?
I think Phoenix is out too.
So yes, you're mostly correct. And I think, yeah, I think it, again, I think it makes some sense. The part that I never really understand is the priority rankings. You could tell me anything about the priority rankings and I would probably believe it. But I think that gets pretty confusing with like the non-elevated stuff, like Tory. And like, again, I think the math of it, I'm sure like works out and it makes sense or whatever, but I don't really get it. And I don't even know that I care to get it.
The only guys who understand the priority rankings are like the 40 guys in the world it applies to. I talked to Bo Hostler about it, and he could run a seminar on the priority rankings and how you move up, and if you're the 7th alternate, what your chances are. And I was like, what? I was like, this is incredible. Like, you need to teach this somewhere. But like, it only only 40 guys in the world care about it.
Can we attend? Can CBS pay for this? Because we apparently need it. Am I explaining that correctly though? Like, is that right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. And it's also, there's also a couple of things that I thought were interesting. There's 2 bye weeks in here, which we haven't really seen before. There's a bye week after the Fortinet, and then I think it's Ryder Cup week, and then Sanderson Farms. And there's another bye week built in after the Zozo, which would be coming back from Japan, but there is no CJ Cup.
Well, there's actually 3 bye weeks because there's 2 for the between the Fortnite and the Sanderson.
Right. It's bye week. Wait, is it bye week, Ryder Cup bye week, or bye week, Ryder Cup, Sanderson?
It's Ryder Cup bye week, Sanderson. No. I said that you were right. It's bye week. Thank you. It's bye week, Ryder Cup, Sanderson.
Got it. Houston is out of the fall and into the spring.
Into the spring. Very interesting. Pre-Masters, you think?
Oh, I don't know if it's into the spring necessarily as much as it is into the main portion of the schedule. Did they actually say spring?
It did say spring, but
okay.
I don't know. Like, I mean, we're dealing with words that mean a lot of different things at this point.
They swing that. Spring 2024 is what it says. It says date. I love this. They tweeted out the official Houston Open tweeted out date announcement, but they did not release a date. It just says spring. So it should say season announcement.
Yes. Yeah. Or like schedule or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a date. All right. Well, I guess we'll figure out the rest of that as we go along.
I mean, how does this change the way you view the fall? Does it do anything for you?
No, I think, yes. Okay. I mean, the fall was already pretty weak outside of, when you got the CJ Cup, when you got the Zozo, right? Those were like by far the jewels of the fall because they were, the elevated events. The idea that we do get a 7 event, I like the concept of a 7-event season, which is kind of what this is, right? It is a 7-event sprint with a couple of bye weeks built in that are generally going to have all the same players, right? I mean, that's what I think what I'm learning is that I really like when all the same guys play against each other every single week, even if it is the top guys or the medium guys or whatever. Just like, we're going to get basically the same guys for 7 tournaments. They are going to be ranked based on their performances, and they're going to be rewarded based on their rankings. I think the concept of that I like very much.
Well, I think what's interesting about that is I want to know, and this is difficult to do because you're trying to mesh a bunch of different schedules, but I want to know how do the DP World Tour guys fit in? How do the Korn Ferry guys fit in? Is there gonna be like this sort of, hey, if you're a Korn Ferry guy, or if you're a top Korn Ferry guy, if you're a top DP World Tour guy, you could play your way actually into the designated events by having a hot fall. That would be kind of sick, right? Where you are like kind of coming up on the Korn Ferry, one of the Hogarths, whatever, and he wins twice in the fall. All of a sudden you're in Riviera, and it's like, oh, okay, like that's a real hierarchy, and it creates real context. I just don't know if those guys because the DP World Tour season's not even over yet, right? And the Corn Ferry is on a different. I don't know how all that works, and I think there's a little bit of confusion over that.
I think there's more to play for in the. Would you say it is what is better to play for in the fall? Getting a head start in FedEx Cup points, which is what the incentive is right now to play in the fall, or to gain entry into the designated events outside the Tournament of Champions.
What was the second one? Gaining what? Oh, entry into
the designated events.
Well, formerly it was like when they send a pace setter out and they just get run down by like all the heavyweights in the spring. Like, Russell Henley's up like 1,000 FedEx Cup points on Rahm and Rory and just gets mowed down by mid-March.
Lonto Griffin is leading the FedEx Cup standings. Yet Rory hasn't teed off yet.
Seamus Power is still in the top 10, I think. No, I think you're right, because you still get the 2-year exemption, the Masters stuff, all that, but you also... there's just more PGA Tour context for the next season. So I think it's like an add-on that is like, yeah, there's more to play for because they basically just added on to what was already there to play for.
Right. Interesting. I guess so. I thought the Zozo was, or excuse me, the CJ Cup was getting the CJ Cup executives have been loving their tournament. So I'm a little bit surprised to not see it on the schedule. Or maybe it'll pop up in the spring. I'm happy to see Shriners. Obviously, I knew that was going to be, that's a TPC course. So happy to have them in Vegas. But yeah, this is kind of what we expect as far as tournaments go, right? Nothing crazy here.
Yeah, I think so. No WGC, HSBC, but that hasn't been around since what, 2019? I think.
Yeah, you could tell me any year. Yeah, sure.
I think it gets a little weak at the end with the WWTC and the Butterfield Bermuda, and the RSM. I would like to see that CJ Cup back in there instead of one of those. But yeah, I think this is probably what is expected.
Speaking of scheduling. More scheduling drama conversation to be had. Bob Herrig of Sports Illustrated reporting that Rory McIlroy will be docked $3 million of his player impact program payout that he is due for skipping this week's RBC Heritage. So KP, to get everybody up to speed here, the general premise around these elevated events or these designated events is that all the big names are going to play them, and they are, quote, allowed to skip one every single year. Now, Rory McIlroy used his skip out of the gate at Tournament of Champions. He also withdrew from RBC Heritage this week, and that essentially, according to Bob Herrig, is going to cost him $3 million because he has not completed a portion of his duties, so to speak.
Yeah, listen, I think it's kind of odd all the way around. Not odd. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm surprised by all of it. It seems like we were talking about this off air. I have no knowledge. I have no insight. I don't know what is going on, but it seems like there's more to it than maybe just like this very successful person gave up $3 million because he was tired or I don't know. Like, and I said this, I think on Tuesday, like, Rory's a pro, he shows up, he does what he's supposed to do, even if he doesn't have to. Like, he's not a ducker of events or media. Like, nobody does more, like he shows up to everything. And so this just seems a little I don't know, it seems a little like there's more to it, and I don't know what that more to it is. But I think before people start just hammering, I saw like when the Rahm quote came out about, oh, I'm here for the kids, and it was like just open season on Rory. And you're like, okay, well, maybe, but I don't know, man. Like I would be pretty cautious about. I get wary in general of WDs. I just because you don't know what's going on, and until you do, it's like, okay, well, let's see what else is there and comment on it then.
Yeah, I think it's to your point, for Rory to be silent is kind of out of character, and also I just think it's weird that the PGA Tour, like, I mean, I guess they haven't released anything official. This is a report from Bob Herrig, but to pin $3 million off your guy who has done like all your PR for you for the last couple of years because he missed one of these big time events. Because the way that it essentially works is, so they've gotten 75% of that bonus paid out already, and then 25% gets paid out based on other criteria, like adding other events or doing like a media thing. Like there's other things that you can do to get the other payout. We've heard this from Phil Mickelson as well. And the only guy who has discretion over it is Jay Monahan, apparently. So like, Jay, I think you can like let this one slide.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing though. And this is where what I'm having a hard time reconciling is, and somebody said this in the chat, I think, if you're the PGA Tour, like the thing that is weird for Rory is that like the tour is, and maybe I don't know, maybe the report's wrong, maybe all of it's wrong, but if the tour is truly fining him, then it makes it look like he was skipping for a reason that they thought was like not legitimate. Like, I just didn't want to be there. I'm tired, whatever. And that doesn't really jive with like and again, I'm theorizing. I don't actually have information, but with what it seems like there's something like more serious or I don't know, personal, whatever. And in that case, if the tour is fining him for that, you're like, wait a second, what are we doing here? So I don't know. All of it just doesn't add up. And I'm curious to kind of see like what other information there is.
Next time we expect to see Rory McIlroy would be Wells Fargo, which is next week is Zurich. Then what? I guess I could pull it up here.
Mexico.
Then,
I think so.
Then Wells Fargo, then the PGA. Are we that close? Yeah, Mexico is after Zurich. And then, yeah, so it's Zurich, Mexico, Wells Fargo, Byron Nelson, PGA. So we expect to see Rory at Quail Hollow.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I will say, like, regardless of the Rory stuff, we can't be doing designated events the week after a major.
Silliness. There's another one coming up. For
anybody's sake. Our sake, the tour's sake, fans. I mean, nobody wants to watch golf this week, you know? Like, and I get it. You're putting the schedule together in like 2 months, maybe 2 weeks, and it was impossible to move things around, but they got to fix that in the future. Okay.
We will discuss the tournament that is happening right now. It's called the RBC Heritage, and there is a very special boy in first place. So we'll talk about that. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. All right, KP, I think we can run through this pretty quickly because I think that, unfortunately, it's not going to have a pretty long shelf life. They're out there playing right now. They're going to, I assume they'll be able to get the rest of this round in, but we'll see. Early morning wave. Viktor Hovland goes out early and shoots a 7 under 64, which is, as of right now, the solo lead. Bogey free. We talked earlier this week about the way that he's been trending. We said this golf course would probably be a pretty good spot for him, and he made us look smart for at least 18 holes.
Yeah, I mean, the trending thing is real. We saw him at Phoenix, T42, then he goes T20, T10, T3 at the Players, and then T7 at the Masters. So but you can't have a better trajectory without like winning a golf tournament, right? And
right.
You know, he putted it great on Thursday, which is why he's leading. But the way he's hitting it overall is why I think he'll be in the mix throughout the end of the weekend. I didn't. You had him in one and done?
That's right, sir.
Okay, great pick. I mean, it's early, but great pick. The reason
Yeah,
that
can I cash out now? Can I just take it now?
yeah. I'm glad I can't because Max Homa's 2 over. But the reason I didn't take him is because I didn't feel like his statistical profile matched up with the golf course. Clearly, I'm an idiot. And to be fair, you said this on Tuesday. Like, he's very straight. Also, it's not like he's Bryson, just wailing away all over the place. So I feel pretty confident saying that he's going to be in it until like Sunday afternoon. Now, whether he wins or not is kind of just luck or whatever. But I feel pretty good about him being in it until the end of the weekend.
Would love to get a nice stamp win for him heading into 3 more majors this year and all that fun stuff, right? I mean, we're still looking for that U.S. mainland victory.
I mean, who needs I don't know about needs, but who could use kind of a signature win? It's not Homa, it's not JT, it's not Rory or Spieth, it's not Rahm, obviously.
It's not Colin, it's not, whatever. Josh says Xander. What's Xander's best win?
Probably Travelers.
And he won the Olympics. I mean, I don't know what you want to give to that.
The Olympics is easier than the Hero World Challenge.
Well, Viktor has 2 of those then.
The Hero World Challenge is menacing. Xander also won the Scottish. What else has he won? I feel like he's won something else big. Did he win a playoff?
No, he won Greenbrier. He won the Tour Championship.
HSBC?
Yeah, HSBC. He ran down Gary Woodland.
And Tournament of Champions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, that's right. Paul in the chat says Patrick Cantlay. Cantlay's got 2 BMW championship wins. Muirfield, right?
Wait, what was the last one you said?
Muirfield Memorial. Hasn't he won the Memorial?
Village. Muirfield Village, yes.
Oh, sorry.
I thought you meant actual Muirfield, like an open. I was like, whoa, I missed that.
Sorry. The Memorial is what I was referring to.
Yes, that was the crooked ROM WD though. So it's like half a memorial. Cantlay, I think Viktor's up there, honestly. I would have said Fitzpatrick. Obviously, he won the US Open last year. Burns kind of got his at the match play, right? I think Burns would have been in that category. I think Viktor is maybe the guy that most needs kind of a signature win. And that's kind of off the top of my head, and I'd probably have to think about it more. Fleetwood obviously hasn't won. Maybe Sung Jae. I don't know. It's an interesting discussion. Cam Young.
Cam Young doesn't have any in general, so one would be nice. Matt Fitzpatrick, as you mentioned, also in the mix, 66, looks healthy again. Love this kid, man. Love it. Be healthy and go do your thing.
Great to see. I mean, we were on a podcast with Andy Lack and Joseph Lamagna back in like October. We did a major player draft. And I think I said on that podcast, like, I feel like Fitzpatrick has #1 player in the world written on him, which sounds maybe dumb, but that's just like his trajectory of improvement is extraordinary. And at the beginning of this year, it wasn't continuing because he's been hurt and it just hasn't played out the way that I thought it would. But still, his floor, even while he's been hurt, has been pretty high. It's a little of the JT, his dad in full swing saying, hey, his bad stuff is still pretty good. That's how I feel about Fitzpatrick right now. And it is nice to see him kind of hopefully getting like rounding into form heading into majors.
So Fitzpatrick 5 under, Viktor 7 under. Those are the big boys in the clubhouse. Brian Harmon at 6 under, lurking. Joel Damon, Scott Stallings in there as well. Aaron Rye out on the golf course right now, 6 under through 12. So maybe he's our first round leader. We will wait and see. Quickly, KP, and we'll get out of here. John Rahm in his first round since becoming the Masters champion is still out on the golf course. He is even par through 14. He has started slow. He went out in 38. That is 2 over. He got 2 birdies on 13 and 14. So trending in the right direction, but far from the top of the leaderboard at the moment.
Yeah, wins the Masters 4 days ago, down 3 to Ernie Els right now. So normal sport.
And then Scotty Scheffler is 2 under through 15. So he's got a couple of holes to play and
Spieth
doing his thing. Spieth is, last I saw, he was 3. Oh boy. 4 under,
Yeah.
and he's playing a par 5 right now, and
Here
he's
we
in
go.
the right-hand side of the fairway. So when I see this, I go, okay, well, that's an automatic birdie because you're in the fairway at a par 5. He gets one more coming in. He's at 6 under. So like I've already got speed for 6 under par.
Did you see the ceremonial tee shot? The real ceremonial tee shot?
As opposed to the fake one?
Well, I just meant like the compared to the Masters.
Oh, I saw the cannon. I saw the cannon give. That's an insane. It's insane.
They've got infantrymen. They've got Davis Love in a tartan jacket. I mean, the whole thing is just completely absurd.
Yeah, that's Sir Willie Innes is the mascot. He is like the only mascot in all of the PGA Tour. He's that Scottish guy. There's
a guy in a kilt with a leaf blower this morning. I mean, Shane Bacon texted me, was like, this is the week of normal sport. Like, this is it.
There is a tee box that is like literally on some person's back deck. Did you see this? It's like on their patio. It could not be any closer. Like if that person went to the bottom step of their patio, they could reach out and touch the golfers teeing off.
It was a little like that in Phoenix, I will say. A couple of the tee boxes there, you're like, this is a little close for comfort. So, yeah, it should be a fun rest of the week with just some horses up near Freaky Fowler's 4 under. Should be a good final 54 at Harbour Town.
Cantlay's 4 under. He's still out on the golf course. Terrell Hatton 3 under. So there's a lot of guys in the mix, and we will continue with updates after each and every round along the way. Big thanks. Producer Josh does all the hard work behind the scenes. Kyle Porter available on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.